When we think about improving our lives, our instinct is almost always to add something. A new routine, a new app, a new strategy, a new purchase. We live in a culture that equates growth with accumulation, as if the measure of progress is how much more we can hold. But the truth is, the weight of what we already carry is often what keeps us from moving forward. The real transformation begins not when we add, but when we subtract. Simplification done quietly, without spectacle, has a way of sharpening the edges of your life so that what remains is clear, powerful, and aligned. Simplicity does not mean deprivation. It is not a call to strip away all joy or comfort. Rather, it is a recognition that complexity often masquerades as success when in fact it is a trap. We fill our schedules with meetings, commitments, and obligations that impress others but exhaust us. We keep objects, clothes, devices, and trinkets that do not serve us, but remind us of a self we no longer are, or worse, a self we never truly wanted to be. We maintain habits out of inertia, not intention. Every layer of excess blurs our focus and dilutes our energy. The paradox is that people often fear letting go because they believe it will leave them with less. But the opposite is true. Every time you remove what is unnecessary, you uncover more of what matters. A closet with fewer but intentional pieces gives you more freedom, not less. A calendar with fewer obligations opens up more opportunities for depth. A mind less cluttered with trivial concerns makes space for ideas that actually move you forward. Simplicity is not emptiness, it is precision. If you look at nature, you'll see this principle everywhere. Trees shed their leaves so they can survive the winter and conserve their energy for spring. Rivers carve valleys not by adding water but by persistently removing soil and stone. Even the human body works through elimination, waste, toxins, distractions in the nervous system, all so that it can function at its highest capacity. Complexity may look impressive, but simplicity is what endures. Philosophically, this is echoed across traditions. The Stoics spoke of freedom as needing less, not acquiring more. Buddhist practice emphasizes detachment, not to diminish life, but to experience it without distortion. Even modern minimalism, stripped of spiritual language, teaches the same lesson. Our attention is finite, and everything we keep competes for it. To simplify is to respect your attention as the most valuable currency you possess. The quiet part of simplification is key. You don't need to tell anyone that you're scaling back, decluttering, or saying no. Grand gestures of simplification often become another performance, another way of seeking approval. But when you simplify in silence, without broadcasting, you're doing it for yourself. You're not trading one kind of noise for another, you're cultivating clarity. And clarity doesn't shout. It simply speaks with authority when you finally learn to listen. Of course, the process is uncomfortable. Letting go always is. We form attachments to habits, objects, and even stress itself because they feel familiar. But the question to ask is simple. Does this thing, this possession, this meeting, this thought pattern move me closer to or further from the life I want? If it doesn't, then holding on to it is a quiet act of sabotage. And sabotage, no matter how polite or subtle, still destroys. Simplification isn't about creating a vacuum. It's about creating a vessel that can actually hold what is meaningful. When you eliminate distractions, you're not left with nothing. You're left with what's essential. And when your life is stripped down to its essentials, you become incredibly difficult to shake. You stop scattering your energy across 1,000 unworthy pursuits, and you start directing it like a laser toward what actually matters. So the invitation here is not to add another rule to your life, but to subtract. To trust that by taking away, you are not losing, you are uncovering. To understand that simplicity is not a downgrade, but an upgrade into clarity. And most importantly, to remember that the most profound shifts don't need an audience. They only need your commitment. Because in the end, complexity impresses the world, but simplicity sustains the soul. And if you want to build a life that lasts, one that feels truly your own, you must be willing to quietly let go of the noise that keeps you from hearing yourself.